As Owen Farrell joins the most elite group of players in the history of International Rugby Union, reaching 100 caps for his country, it's only right to recognise what a special human being he is. Have you seen his rugby CV? Seriously, have you? I'll tell you what, I'll do it like they used to do those intros for the guests when they'd come on X Factor. 100 caps for England! 3 British and Irish Lions tours! A 3-time... Actually, I'm not going to do it like that at all. That was a bad idea. Tell you what, let's do it like an 80s movie. End of programme credits. An unbelievable list of accolades which just proves one thing. That man is a legend. His legacy, his place among the greatest rugby players ever to play our sport is beyond doubt. And yet for some reason, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. Yeah, fair enough, that might be the reason. And probably also a little bit that he's a very serious guy. He has an intensity which just comes off as stereotypically northern. And I'm in Manchester, I'm allowed to say that. But if you won't take my word for it, surely you'll listen to this guy.
I think it's funny that probably one of the youngest guys on the team, Owen Farrell, is the guy that's driving everyone on though. You know, we all need to add that extra bit to our game, lads, and become a team, push each other around the corner all the time, push each other to get off the ground. Every little thing we do. The guy's 22 years of age, barking at everyone, driving everyone around the pitch. We should all be doing it.
From the first minute, Filthy drives around the pitch now. I can play for you all day. It's really good. So drives around the pitch, okay?
Yeah, I hear Paul O'Connell knows a little bit about rugby, and he's played against and with Owen Farrell and holds him in the highest esteem, as does referee Nigel Owens, who said he was one of the best that he's officiated, calling him a hugely talented individual, right at the sharp end on the field of play, often his team's talisman and match winner, who plays rugby in the right spirit, hard but fair and always with respect. And that word, respect, that's something that's earned, not given, isn't it? And Owen Farrell has earned it over an extended period of time, many years on domestic, European and international stages, from teammates, from opponents, from referees and from coaches. We will miss him when he's gone. He's got a lot of rugby left in him, mind you, but I'm already grateful for what he's already given. When teammates talk about Owen Farrell, what comes back again and again are the standards that he sets. And you do not get 100 caps at international level unless you have that elite mindset and you drag people up to your level. He is as tough mentally as he is physically, and that is saying something, because the man is carved from granite. He will smash his opponent into next week and then get up and nail that match-winning penalty. Sublime skills, and to make it a dream combination, pure shithousery. And you know what? I get it. I get why, if you're not English, you might really dislike Owen Farrell. But I bet you'd love him in your team. So he got his first cap for England, making his debut in the 2012 Six Nations against Scotland. He started at, guess what position?
Charlie Hodgson at fly half, and outside him, 2 new boys in Farrell and Barrett.
Inside centre. Let's put a pin in that one, shall we? He was the youngest man in the squad. On debut, listen to him after the game.
That's just the start for us. We came out here, we worked unbelievably hard for each other. That's what we've worked on the last couple of weeks, is getting together and bonding as a team, and we really want to fight for each other.
Farrell was to the manner born, and yeah, like I said, he was wearing 12 on his back on that first day, as he did on his 100th cap. Personally, I don't get the level of criticism that Owen Farrell gets as an inside centre. Stuart Lancaster picked him there on debut. Eddie Jones has picked him there most often too. And Warren Gatland did the same on 2 different Lions tours. It's a particularly English phenomena, I think, that rather than celebrate someone being so good they can operate at the highest level in multiple positions, he is instead maligned by fans on a giant scale, called boring, robotic, lacking flair, a rubbish attacker, a hothead. I could go on. Just search his name on Twitter on a match day. You'll see. And it isn't just opposing fans either. As Farrell said himself this week, building up to his 100th cap, he's not used to people saying nice things about him. So he's aware of the comments. He processes them, he internalises them, and then he just discards them and gets on with his job of being a world-class athlete. And in a time where people have never been so fragile and so easily offended, Owen Farrell is a lesson in stoicism. That guy is going to look back in years to come and know when he looks in the mirror that he got every ounce of talent from the hand that he was dealt. And I wonder how many of Farrell's biggest critics will be able to say the same. Very soon, Farrell is going to overtake the great Johnny Wilkinson as England's all-time record point scorer. And it is a genuine, valid debate, who is better, Owen or Johnny? The comparison, though, is a perfect one, because both men take their rugby incredibly seriously, are quite introverted characters, going out of their way to avoid the media and to keep their private lives very much private.
You said maybe Portugal, a villa, just you and me, prawn pill every day.
I'll be back when you turn that on.
No, what?
I mean, how much outside of rugby do you know about Owen Farrell's life? Yeah, you know who his dad is, obviously. You might know that he married his childhood sweetheart and they have 2 sons together. But the reason I didn't just flash up some photos of them, like I just did with his dad, because it doesn't feel right to. Farrell goes out of his way to keep his private life completely out of the public eye, and that makes me feel like I should respect it. Now, I've been in a position to be posing the questions to Owen after games and in the odd corporate gig, and my biggest takeaway on the man is, without sounding too much like he's some kind of Don Corleone figure, respect. Keep coming back to that word. If you meet him on his level, he will give you whatever you need with grace and with honesty, but you will never ever draw him into saying something he doesn't want to, or giving a quote that feeds a tabloid narrative.
Were England robbed by some poor officiating today?
Well, that's not for us to talk about. There's plenty that we can do better.
What were you trying to say to the referee? I mean, you clearly felt you had a case.
Look, there's no point in talking about it now. That's for everyone else to talk about. We'll focus on what we can control.
Knock on or no knock on? It was another controversial moment.
Again, we'll control what we can control.
This is a guy you'll never hear tell a great drunken story on a podcast. And actually, to be fair, you wouldn't be surprised if you found out he's never actually been so blind drunk that he's woken up in his kit 3 days after winning a trophy, or jumped off a ferry, or tossed a dwarf. Naming no names, obviously. I mean, just imagine what it's like to be around that as a teammate, or to have that influence in your squad if you're a coach. On a professional level, you would be in awe of the poise and control of the man. You instinctively feel calmer around people like that, and more focused too, and you probably walk an inch taller just behind him. It may well be the rugby league background, which he grew up in the middle of, but Farrell has very traditional masculine virtues. Ones that you see often from characters that come from the other code. Think Kevin Sinfield, for example. These are men of humility, where family and community is everything, where they've seen people honour that struggle as they grind to provide and protect their inner circle, where effort and sacrifice is a non-negotiable, and so is standing your ground when someone challenges you. And Farrell is a hard man. We can talk about tackle technique. My goodness, people love to talk about his tackle technique. But first, can we just acknowledge the guy is absolutely nails. All right, fine, tackle technique, let's do it. Yep, the laws of the game changed. Farrell had a trend where he was involved in some hits which looked quite unsavoury in the context of the changing rugby landscape. Sometimes high, sometimes without a clear rap. Yep, very rugby league-esque. It cost him and his team at times. It became a narrative people used as a reason to suggest he wasn't worth his place. It's clearly something he's worked on and addressed, because whilst the laws have got more strict on it, Farrell's issues have largely gone. OK, can we go back to talking about how hard he is now? Actually, no. Let's talk about how smart he is. I mentioned how he'll never be drawn into saying something he doesn't want to. That's because his brain is half a second ahead of everybody else in the room. And he can assess his intentions, the implications, as the situation is unfolding, and tailor his decisions to the moment. That is precisely what he does on the field as well. And a quick reminder of what he's done. It's that same rugby intellect, speed of thought and decision-making which means he is able to be not just the best fly half in England, quite possibly the best fly half on earth, but he's the best 12 for his country as well. And even when all the other home nations have their players in the mix, Coaches consistently find a way to make sure he is in their 15. Yeah, so the haters in the rugby forums and on Twitter will keep doubting the guy. But how many teammates or opposing players or coaches or opposing coaches or referees or former pros does it take over so many years to realise Owen Farrell is the consistent thread? Yeah, he's been in great teams, but he wins the individual plaudits too. He is the common thread. He deserves our respect. Congratulations on 100.